Take a slow breath for a second. Seriously, pause whatever you're doing right now. Let your shoulders relax. If you're listening to this, it's not random. Have you noticed how some people didn't leave your life loudly? They didn't argue. They didn't explain. They didn't fight. They just quietly faded away. One day they were part of your daily life, and the next day they weren't, and you were left staring at your phone, wondering what changed, wondering if you missed something important. You probably asked yourself questions you never got answers to. Did I say something wrong? Did I do too much? Did I not do enough? Why did it end like this? Without a reason, without closure. That quiet ending can hurt more than a loud one. Because silence gives your mind too much room to imagine things that were never true. Here's something most people don't realize until much later in life. God often removes people quietly when they are no longer aligned with your growth, not loudly, not dramatically, but gently, almost silently, because if God removed them loudly, you might chase them, you might beg for clarity, you might keep reopening a door that was meant to close. Let's be honest for a moment. We don't like letting go. We like familiarity, even when it hurts. We like what feels known, even when it drains us. We'll stay connected to people who barely show up. We'll keep explaining ourselves to people who stop listening. We'll hold on to relationships that expired a long time ago just because we're used to them. So sometimes God steps in and says, "You're growing now, and they can't come with you." And instead of creating a big scene, God creates distance. Messages start slowing down, replies feel shorter, plans stop happening, the energy changes, and without realizing it, the connection fades. Not because you failed, not because you weren't enough, but because you're evolving. Think about it honestly. Have you ever tried to grow while constantly explaining yourself to someone who doesn't want to understand you? Have you ever tried to heal while staying close to people who remind you of your worst moments? It's exhausting. It pulls you backward. And God sees that even when you don't. God removes people quietly so you can finally hear yourself again. Your own thoughts, your own intuition, your own needs. At first, the silence feels uncomfortable. Silence always does. You might replay old conversations like a song stuck on repeat. You might check your phone more times than you'd like to admit. You might even miss people who weren't good for you just because they were familiar. That doesn't mean you made a mistake, it means you're human. But here's the truth your heart needs to hear clearly. People who are meant to grow with you do not disappear when you start changing. They don't feel threatened by your healing. They don't get uncomfortable when you start choosing yourself. They adjust, they evolve, they stay. The ones who leave quietly were never meant for your next chapter. And sometimes God removes people before the blessing arrives, because not everyone deserves access to who you're becoming. Some people only knew the old you, the version that overgave, the version that stayed quiet to keep peace, the version that accepted less than you deserved, and that version of you doesn't exist anymore. So God clears space, not to punish you, but to prepare you. You may not notice it right away, but you're lighter, you're less anxious, you're not walking on eggshells anymore, you're not shrinking to make others comfortable. That's growth, and growth often feels lonely before it feels empowering. God knows who secretly competes with you. He knows who drains your energy. He knows who keeps you stuck in old patterns. So instead of exposing them, instead of creating conflict, God simply removes them quietly. No drama, no explanation, just distance. And one day you wake up and realize something surprising. You feel calmer, you breathe deeper, you laugh a little easier, you feel more like yourself again. And that's when it finally clicks. It wasn't rejection, it was redirection. God didn't take anything away from you. He made room for peace, room for clarity, room for people who don't confuse love with inconsistency, room for connections that don't require you to beg, chase, or over-explain. So if someone faded out of your life without closure, without answers, without explanations, take a deep breath. That wasn't loss. That was protection. You're not losing people. You're outgrowing them. And what's coming next fits the new you perfectly. Trust the quiet removals. They are not ending your story. They are guiding you towards something better.